Welcome to Around the ECHL every Friday, brought to you by Ellen's, and the face that you see on screen, very familiar face, handsome guy, friend, former captain of your Allen Americans, the one and only Joel Chouinard. Chewy, let me say, I like your background. I think mine's pretty cool, but you may have me beat by just a tad.
Yeah, that's all the wife. I can't get any credit for it. She's got the knack for decorating, so I just benefit.
Absolutely. I was going to say, fans know, I would say the hardcore fans know that you're a dad now. You've got a few years in this now. Have you adjusted to dad life / hockey life / business world?
Yeah, it's a tough balance to, try to be present in each bucket of life and do it, well. I don't want to get a C- on my dad duties. I want to get an A and an A+, and same with the business and same with coaching, and as we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely hard to try to excel in all three of these, but at least the best I can do is try.
Do you miss playing hockey, pro hockey, on a daily basis? Do you ever wake up some morning and say, wow, I wish I could go to the rink and put on the skates and hang out with the boys on the ice for 40 minutes?
That's what I miss is hanging out with the boys in the locker room. I do miss the games, the intensity and being on the ice. But it's nice to be at home all the time and not having to travel and no offense, but not being on the bus for 30 hours. So it's been good. But yes, I do miss being around the guys and just being under the lights, I guess.
So, we're going to get to something that you're here to talk about here in a minute, but as long as we kind of open that door, being the captain of this team, for a bit, and obviously it's not always easy. I mean, with the great winning and the success we've had here in Allen, there also comes the hard times. And I remember the first time I met you and you told me, said, hey, there's one reason why I came to Allen, one reason only, and that's to win a championship. Mm-hmm. Daniel Tatro said the same thing. Jack Combs told me the same thing. Several guys that came here were a part of it. Some were a part of championship, some were not. When you were the captain of this team and the pressure of playing hockey here in Allen, because mm-hmm. Hey, the expectation every year, we know it, fans are championship or bust. And it's right. It's that way at Allen High School with the Eagles football, right? I mean, right. Kylan Murray playing here, for goodness sake. So mm-hmm. Did you put a lot of pressure on yourself when you were the captain, thinking, oh man, and sometimes take more of the blame than you should because you're the captain?
I'll say, Tommy, it was hard not to, bring a championship home in the 3 years that I was there, especially as the captain. Like you said, I came here for a reason. I had never won a championship in my career before and really thought we had the team to do it. And it just didn't happen. So it was hard. It was hard to retire knowing that I wasn't going to, get one. And the following year, the team's in first place, and I'm looking at this like, man. But then obviously COVID shut everything down. But yeah, no, it was hard. And looking back, it's hard. Hindsight's 2020, and I would have done things maybe differently than I did. But I have no regrets either. I had a blast playing in Allen for 3 years. I met some great people. I'm still very much part of the team, I guess. I still have a really good relationship with everybody there. So yeah, no regrets, but definitely, obviously, it sucked for a while.
But the great thing is, fans that don't know, Joel is still involved in the game of hockey. First of all, he's part of our Allen Americans alumni, and Joel, along with Nolan Dakota and Matthew Aubin, and the list goes on and on. The Ludwig brothers, guys that are part of this, Aaron Jens, Riley Gill, will be involved with some things coming up. And that's the one thing, when I talked to our president, Mike Waddell, when he came in, he said, what would you like to fix and change if you could change one thing about the hockey history here in Allen? And I said, I'd like to involve our alumni more, because, we had some great players that played here that are still here. Mike Salikin played on the first ever team that went to the finals back in 09-10, or the 10,
Right.
championship season that lost to Rapid City. Mike still lives in town, is very involved in the hockey world, as many of you know. Hockey is very expensive. I remember as a kid growing up in Buffalo, and obviously equipment has changed a lot since I played. And
A little bit.
a little bit, yeah. You know what? But you know what? It was still expensive.
I'm not aging you there, Tommy. I'm just
you're right. I'm first to admit it. I was lucky enough to play as a youth in the same rink that years down the road that Patrick Kane would play in,
right,
in West Seneca, New York. But it's expensive, and I know you, along with our great Anna Gonzalez and the Red Lamb Foundation, trying to help some of the youth and trying to grow this game of hockey, but it's expensive. And I know you have a message that you want to pass along here to, say, hey, we can help.
Get sunshine for the whole squad at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Yeah, so it kind of started germinating in my head a little bit earlier this year. I guess in the fall, when I started coaching a youth hockey team here in the Collin County area, and they're a travel team. And it's three practices a week, sometimes 2 games, and then just tournaments that are. We were lucky enough here in Texas to have really good rink, system. So there are a lot of tournaments that are here, but most of them are obviously out of town: Chicago, Detroit, in the typical hockey markets, Philadelphia, Boston. And I just realized that when I grew up, what my parents had to pay was the ice time and equipment. First of all, the coaches, and all that, it wasn't the same. So that's just kind of started germinating in my head how cost prohibitive travel hockey can be. And I think of other sports like football, basketball, soccer. It doesn't matter. You look at some of these baseball players who come from Dominican Republic and in those countries, dirt poor, nothing at all, and they still can make it to the MLB because it's not a cost prohibitive sport. Right. They can play, the best teams in their region, and same with football here in Texas. You don't have to travel very far to be part of the best. And that's the situation I grew up in. I was playing the highest level I could play 30 minutes away from my house. My parents could just drive me there. And here it's just not the case. So people need money in order to play hockey. And I'm just trying to, it might be a drop in the bucket to start with, at least. But the goal is that we could help support a family, maybe multiple families, to help pay for this cost of the traveling, flights, hotels, rental cars associated with playing travel hockey. And what we're doing, and this is what we're announcing, is we're going to do a fundraiser on March 5th at Boomer Jacks here in Fairview. And the goal is to raise money through various auction items that we're going to be auctioning off. One of them is free night in a suite at the Allen Americans game. So that could be a fun thing to win. And all the money will be going toward helping a family that we'll select through a pretty thorough selection process this summer for next year's season.
I'd like to throw one in. I'd like to donate. If somebody would like to come broadcast a game with me here at the event center up in the broadcast booth and be a part of the entire broadcast.
That's really cool. Thank you.
You can auction that off, and I would welcome that. Anything I can do to help, Joel. I remember, like I said, my parents, we weren't rich by any means, but I played it. If any of you are familiar with the Western New York area, I started out at Holiday Twin Rinks, and it was just, I can still walk into that building now, Joel, many years later. And that smell that I remember from my childhood, when you walk in there, it still smells the same. And I think, wow, that's corny. No, it's not. I mean, for hockey families who spend so much time at the rink, and you always hear hockey players talking about, oh, my mom, she was the one who was up early taking me to practice at 6 a.m., especially in Saskatchewan where it was cold and snowy. And,
Right.
it wasn't always easy to get up and get out and maneuver at that time of the morning. And, those are great stories that I love to hear about. Hockey is a very unique family. We're all one. We all love the game. Some people end up hockey players and captains and like Joel Chouinard, and some of us end up broadcasters and love what we do now. So I want to help. And I know fans will want to help after they hear this, because you were beloved when you were here. One of the nicest people I've ever dealt with. You got mad at me one time, but that only lasted for a couple days, and we ironed that thing out. But I'm so glad you're
It was
still
partly
here.
my fault.
No, it's all good. And trust me, I love Chouinard. I mean, and the one thing, here's what you got to know about Joel. He's always generous with his time. Anytime I ever ask him to do anything to help out, whether it was, a radio show, a player appearance, he was always willing to help, and would sometimes rearrange his schedule to do that. And that's why he's such a great dad. That's the reason why he's succeeding now in the business world. And one of the reasons why he is here today asking for help, because he cares and he wants to make sure that kids here in Texas, and I got to admit, I love the fact that when I leave the building and I'm walking to my car and I see all these young kids, walking across the street, carrying their hockey bag, dad or mom or whoever with them, man, it hits you right here. And I'm sitting there thinking that could be, the future Mike Modano, if you want to equate it to Dallas hockey and American-born kids. It could happen.
Below Zero Cryo, whole body cryotherapy stimulates the body's natural healing abilities through exposure to extreme cold. Cryotherapy was developed in Japan in 1978 as a treatment for rheumatoid arthritis. Over the past 3 decades, it's become even more popular as its performance-enhancing and general health and wellness benefits have become more well-known. Call Below Zero Cryo for an appointment today. 469-362-8191. Below Zero Cryo is located at 8715 Lebanon Road, Suite 400 in Frisco.
Here's, and you probably would know better than anybody, for a family who's got a son or a daughter, because I know we have some young good female hockey players here in the area too.
Yeah.
What is the yearly cost for a family? Let's say, and I'm not going to ask you about, 2 kids. We'll just talk about one kid. If you have one kid that's playing travel hockey today, what is the family looking at expense wise per year? Travel, gear, ice time, you name it.
So it depends on the level that you play at. So there's really 3 levels here in Dallas that kids can play. There's tier 1, which is there's one team of 20 kids for the whole age group, and you could probably ask Martinson about the cost of that, because Lily was on that team for a while.
Yeah,
you're looking at around $10,000 to $15,000 a year to play, because there's only one team in Dallas. Therefore, they have to travel, every other weekend to play other, best teams in the country. And our Dallas Stars Elite is actually one of the top programs in the country. We always rank really well, both on the women and men. But if you go to the second level, which is tier 2, just the level I coach, you're still looking at about, $10,000 a year. There's the tuition on one side, and then all the travel and equipment costs and all that stuff. So not everybody has $10,000, lying around after tax. Don't forget about that, right? So it's very cost prohibitive, and there are ways that some organizations have to help with that. We just want to help more. And to me, it's not, the goal is not necessarily to grow the next Modano. Don't get me wrong, it'd be really nice. And it seems like there's a kid in the 13 Stars Elite that's phenomenal, phenom. He's playing, 2-3 years up, but and he's, homegrown. But it's giving a kid maybe the opportunity to go play junior hockey that one otherwise wouldn't have, or maybe go play college. And hockey is such a good life school
Yes.
You learn things playing hockey that you just normally wouldn't if you didn't play a sport. And to me, that's the biggest thing, is if we can get a kid that opportunity, maybe they'll make something better of their life that they wouldn't have otherwise. And to me, that's why we're doing this. And I hope it can make a big difference.
Joel Chouinard, former Allen Americans captain. Let's run down again. I know you said Boomer Jacks right across the street from the arena. Give us the date again and how you can be there and be involved.
Yeah, so March 5th, Saturday, March 5th, at 5:30 at Boomer Jacks. That's where we're going to start. We're going to have some appetizers for everybody, and then we'll auction off these items. So it's just a get together, and you'll be able to donate as well. We have a dash link coming up. The RSVP for this is going to be, maybe you can put a QR code at the end of your podcast, Tommy.
Sure.
There's going to be a bunch of information sent out, or you can reach out to me if you need more information. But yeah, just 5:30 Boomer Jacks, March 5th, and we hope to see a lot of people.
Awesome, buddy. I appreciate what you're doing. It's exciting. It's I love to see players that are still involved in the game. They're also giving back to the game, and obviously you care. You've got to. When is Julian? Is he already skating and starting to even? I mean, it seems like just yesterday he was born, but
yeah, he's got skating class tonight.
What's that?
He's got skating class tonight at 6 p.m. So he's already awesome. in the rotation.
Well, I remember Costello's kids who are getting bigger now, and boy, are they good. Cam and Kane are two different style hockey players. As Chad likes to say, Kane is the skilled guy. Kane is the dirty player. He said he plays. Oh, yeah. He said he loves the way he plays the game. I love it too. It's they're both such good boys, and we've had so many good kids that have grown up in the Allen Americans family, much like Julian is now, and getting on skates. And
right.
I just can't tell you thank you enough for what you're doing to try and help out some of our youth. And those costs are expensive. You mentioned 10 to 15,000 for the higher level. So they need help. A lot of families can't afford to do that. So
right.
If we can help, if you can help, that's great.
Yeah, no, I thank you guys for giving us the platform to be able to do this. The Red Lamp Foundation, Anna, she does a great job. I'm so happy to have partnered up, and well, more to come in the next few days. And again, March 5th, 5:30 at Boomer Jacks in Fairview.
Also, just in case somebody's seeing this here at the end, Joel, and they want to contact you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can email me. My email is jgchouinard, so jgchouinard at F as in Frank, T as in Tom, .NewYorkLife, spelled out, .com. Or they can give me a call, 440-527-4939.
All right. Former Americans captain Joel Chouinard, a big event coming up at Boomer Jacks on Saturday, March the 5th, as we raise money for the great youth hockey programs here in DFW. This, of course, has been our Red, White, U podcast, which we do every Friday, and excited to have former Allen Americans captain Joel Chouinard on the show today. Chewy, thank you for stopping by, and we will see you soon at the rink.
Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Hello, Americans fans. Former American defenseman Nolan Dakota here with a message from Fast Signs in Plano. Both Plano locations are independently owned and operated by myself and are proud partners with the Americans for this season and the Americans Drive for Five. At Fast Signs, we understand the burden this difficult time presents on businesses, and helping you to solve your changing visual communication and business challenges is our commitment. Mention this ad when you call Fast Signs in Plano for 10% off your next order. Fast Signs, more than fast, more than signs.